what motivated you to actually, how did you get into specifically the industry? When I say the industry, of course, the entertainment, because it encompasses so many, and you've
Yeah.
done so many things within it. But what brought you into the industry? Yeah, what brought you into the industry? Like, how did your path lead you here?
So, as you mentioned, I graduated from Temple University. I had a bachelor's of business administration degree in marketing. And I knew I always wanted to, just do something with people. And I always wanted to connect with people. And that kind of transitioned to me being the people connector. But my first job out of college was a job that was in Philadelphia. And I kind of had it before. So when I graduated, I was like, okay, I got to figure this out because my ultimate goal was to get to New York. And so I kind of put some feelers out. And then my sister's ex was working at NBC News. And he was like, well, I can get you a job here, but, it may not be doing what you want to do. And I was like, well, good, because I don't know what I want to do yet. So maybe that'll help, you know? So I packed my stuff up and I moved to Brooklyn. And I worked as an electronic journalism in the electronic journalism department, logging tapes for like the NBC News and the nightly news. And, this was this was like before Conan O'Brien, I think. But it was a nowhere job. Great job because it paid great, but I just knew I wanted more. And then I bumped into one of my friends who went to elementary school with me, actually. And she introduced me to my mentor, my friend, my best friend now, Sincere Thompson. And I told him, I said, look, if you ever get an opportunity to hire, people, then let me know because I want to work in the music industry. So this was all just off the top. This is all off the top of my head because I was freestyling. And so one day I was at NBC News and he said, guess what, Aria, I'm over at Motown. So, if you want to come over here, then come on. So I was like, yes. So what I actually did was I continued working at NBC News because the job at Motown was not paying squat. It was probably paying about not even $30,000 a year. So I was making a lot more money at NBC News, working the overnights for like 2 or 3 nights a week than I was for working 70 hours at Motown. So what I did was I ended up staying over at NBC, working the night shift, and then I would leave and go to Motown during the day. And then a lot of times, as you know, that would end up in us being out at night at the club promoting, and then I go right back around. So I did that for like 8 months, and then I got fired, and it was all good. But after I got fired, I was doing some print work, some magazine stuff, some hair magazine, because I used to have hair, not anymore. And
I was the same, but I'd be lying.
You keep growing your hair. It's amazing how your hair grows. I need to find out the secret. But anyway, let's put a pin in that one.
Yeah.
But I was walking down 22nd Street in Manhattan, and I bumped into my good friend Keenan Towns, and we just started chopping it up. He went to school with me at Temple, and he told me that he was about to go on tour, the Sinbad Soul Beach Music Festival tour, and the Tom Joyner cruise. So he was like, I'm looking for somebody. Before he could even finish his sentence, I was like, when do we leave? Where are we going? What's happening? How do I get there? So it was working for Tanqueray at the time, Tanqueray Gin, for people who don't know what Tanqueray is. And I got on that boat and I made sure that I put my best foot forward. I was there before we were supposed to be setting up, and there the whole time enjoying the show because it was one of my favorite groups of all time. Earth, Wind & Fire was on that bill. So I definitely was watching the show. And then at the end of the show, I would break down our signage. So that was kind of like my introduction into the spirits business with Tanqueray. But I guess midway through the cruise, I got a call from the office, US Concepts, where I used to work. And they told me that they heard I was doing such a great job and they wanted to offer me a position there. So fast forward, came back to New York. they offered me a role as a key account manager for Hennessy, Grand Marnier, Tanqueray, Johnny Walker Black, a rum called Akumari rum. I don't even think it's in the market anymore. And Moët and Chandon and Dom Pérignon. So those were my brands. Those were my brands when I first started working in this business. And so right from there, it was like, I can only go up from here.